Hello and welcome. I am trying something new. Hi, I'm Lee. I'm a hypnotist. I talk about hypnosis. I do a lot of hypnosis. I am new to live streaming largely, so I'm going to see if I can get live chat to work for me while I'm actually looking at it today. We'll see how that goes. So, there are always a lot of questions that come up about hypnosis over and over and over and over again. And you're going to get different responses depending on who you ask about hypnosis. And it also depends on what specifically you mean when you ask the question. But I'm going to try to answer some questions today, and maybe we'll return to some at some point in the future. I don't know. So, is hypnosis real? That's the top question, probably. And I think it means, they want to know if what the results are that you can get from hypnosis, if those are real. So, hello, Kara Stardust. Nice to see you. So, is hypnosis real? So, yes, if you are talking about the results you can get from hypnosis, then it's absolutely real. What does that mean? That means that if you go to see a hypnotist for something like stopping smoking, for losing weight, for reducing anxiety, then yes, hypnosis is able to help someone deal with any one of those issues. Because hypnosis is really good at changing the way we think about things and the behaviors that we have around those things. So if hypnosis makes you change the way you eat, change the way you exercise, change how you feel about yourself, then you can find that perhaps when you used to be a couch potato before, now you find yourself, for example, getting up early and putting on some workout outfit and going for a walk or a run before you go to work. Taking a bike ride instead of something else. Maybe you're close enough to bike to work on some days, you decide you're going to do that instead. Is hypnosis magically going to suction all the fat out of your body and give you the ideal shape that perhaps is somebody else's that you think you would like to look like? Absolutely not. But hypnosis can both make you more interested in doing the things that are healthier and good for you, and it can also help by removing things like your concerns about doing some of those things. So you just find that you enjoy eating salads more. You get more fiber in your diet. You like to drink more water. You decide that you let go of sodas. There are a lot of different things that hypnosis can do for you, and what can it not do for you? So, somebody, wondered, can you heal your teeth with hypnosis? Probably not. That's a physical thing. Maybe. I don't know. I've never done any sort of thing like that. However, if you want to go to the dentist and you want to get the best results, you're probably going to be better at going to the dentist when you can keep your mouth open, when you don't drool as much as you expect that you're going to, when you don't feel pain when the dentist is doing things. Mitigating a pain response is one of the most practical things that you can do with hypnosis. So hello to everybody. Hello, Keenan. Hi, Kara. Thanks for being here. It's so great. Yes, so the things that it cannot do are myriad, but the things that it can do are so great that yes, hypnosis is real. It can make things easier for you. You can become a better test subject, test taker, studier. You can find you have more confidence. You can absolutely stop smoking or start a better habit. The world is your oyster. As long as it is dependent upon your behavior and your thoughts and how those can be changed, almost anything is possible. And if you have questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. I do see it. I will get to you, and I'm very excited by that. So, hypnosis is real. Let's just start there. Hypnosis absolutely is real based on the answer that I gave, the types of things that I talked about. So what can you do with it? I talked about some of those too. I do a lot more recreational hypnosis, which is things that people are looking to do for fun. So that might mean something like giving somebody a trigger, which is a post-hypnotic suggestion or an in the middle of hypnotic suggestion that allows them to behave in a certain way. For some people, it might be taking on a furry or an animal persona. Those are super popular nowadays. And what that means is that you can allow somebody to fully inhabit whatever creature it is that they'd most like to be. And that's kind of fun. You can allow somebody to experience something that they need at the moment. So, for example, somebody just mentioned this, that I have a blank trigger that allows your brain to have no thoughts in it whatsoever. Now, maybe that particular thing isn't completely helpful, but maybe you're at the office and you decide that you just need to be able to block out all the sounds around you so you can concentrate and focus on the thing in front of you. You can totally do that. And you can also just do it for fun, because there are so many people in this day and age who have heads that have voices in them that will not shut up. Whether it's their own voice, whether it's somebody else's voice, whether it's a song, I don't know. But sometimes we have things in our head, we cannot get rid of them, and we need to be able to just shush that. So, being able to have all your thoughts quieted down can be something that's really, really useful for people. This question gets asked all the time, and it usually goes something like this. Hey, hypnotist, I had a really bad breakup, and I want to forget that really bad breakup. I want to forget that person entirely. Can I do it? Whether it's because they're with somebody new, but the thoughts that they have about that past relationship keep interfering with their current one, whatever happens. So, because I literally wrote a book on hypnotic amnesia, I want to talk about what the limitations and expectations of hypnosis are. That being said, it is possible to take a single solitary memory, and that could involve a person, and to get rid of that. But there are conditions around that, and there are reasons why we don't just go in and do that. With one of my partners, I have a trigger, and I ask them who I am. And when I do that, they do not know who I am. They literally have no idea. For them, it's as though the last period of time since we first met never happened. None of those things that we've ever done together are things that their brain understands or knows about in that moment. This is a very specific thing with a very specific person. They have a suggestion that they will always get whatever we've talked about in those moments back. But it can be fun and playful and useful in those moments. More fun and playful than useful, your mileage may vary. But you can also, as long as it isn't a powerfully emotional thing, you can take a memory and get rid of that memory. You may have to do a couple things around that to make sure that it's not going to come back or that it's not going to cause problems. And that's why when you want to get rid of a memory about, say, an ex-partner, that those can be so problematic. Depends on how long it is. It depends on how powerfully emotional that relationship was. But unless you can get rid of all those emotional things, that person is still going to affect the way you behave with people in the future. The best thing to do is to diminish the way you feel about that person. So when you think about them, when you see them, instead of not thinking about them or not seeing them, your brain then goes, I just don't care about them anymore. The best way to not care about someone anymore is to take the emotions, the strong feelings that you had about them, and to remove those, to remove the strong feelings so you can think about them and it doesn't bother you. You can think about them the same way you might think about, seeing a blue car parked on the sidewalk. Doesn't really matter. Slight inconvenience, maybe you gotta go around it, but so what? You don't care about it. And not caring about a thing is a really great way to kind of forget about it. The less you care about something, the less it's likely to upset you, to cause you problems, etc. So how do we get better at taking hypnotic amnesia suggestions? The first way we can start taking in suggestions better is to allow your unconscious mind to think about the ways it already forgets stuff, to allow you to forget things that are truly inconsequential. Like a lot of times people start with, let's forget your name, or let's forget numbers, but you're an accountant. And that causes an internal response where you just are like, maybe not you, but a lot of people are just like, nope, I'm out of here, that's done, I can't forget that sort of thing. And the more your brain is okay with whatever you can forget, you can learn to apply that selectively in the correct inferences. So your brain can say, oh, well, it's okay, I'm going to forget this thing, and I'm okay with forgetting that thing. You can also say you can forget it, but only for this short period of time, and then once that short period of time is over, you can fully remember everything you need to. But please remember that our unconscious self, our senses, take in a boatload of information more than our conscious self will ever know. It's just how it is. So we forget things constantly, all the time. It's how we can know the stuff that we know. It's how we can really do deep dives into certain things and to know a whole bunch about something. We don't have to know a whole bunch about everything in the world because our poor minds would be swamped and that would be overwhelming. So we literally forget things all the time. So even if you can't remember the ways in which you forget or the things that you forget, because we really do, allow your unconscious mind to go, what things am I okay with forgetting? And to find that maybe you can work on that. Now, there are also some people, they go into a hypnosis session, they hear the words at the beginning, they hear the awakener at the end, and everything in the middle is this, was I asleep? Probably not. But they forget, they don't know what happened in that middle. I am like that. So that's how I know there are people out there that exist, and there are plenty others. But sometimes you want something specific or forgotten. Like, I think it's really fun to go shopping with my partners and be like, hey, they say they really like things, and I'm like, cool, you can forget that you told me about that, but you can carry that up to the counter and I'll get that for you for your birthday or Christmas or whatever. And they have no idea. I truly love doing that. It's absolutely fantastically fun. I have a shelf where things go where they don't know what's on the shelf. I think that's very helpful too, because I can put whatever I want there and they just can't see it, or they are not aware of it. They could look at it and it would slide right by. So those are some of my very favorite things. Yeah. So, okay, so you're okay with forgetting your name for a little bit, right? So you think about what that means when you're okay with forgetting your name. What do we do? How does a hypnotist deal with somebody who's like, yeah, I'm okay with forgetting this piece of information for a while? So can we do it when you're not in trance? Are you in trance now? It depends. But we can probably do it even if you're not quite in trance. We'll see. So your unconscious mind says, I'm okay with forgetting this thing. At some point in time, you do want to get your unconscious mind's buy-in on almost everything that you do. If your unconscious mind was like, I don't think so, then you're going to have a harder time convincing it that it's okay. You can still make that happen, but it would take a little bit more. So you're okay with forgetting a thing. So what does that mean? It means that you can't say it, you can't think it, you can't see it, you can't write it. Anything around, if you heard it, it wouldn't make any sense to you. If somebody was like, oh, are you John? You'd be like, no, I have no idea who that is. Or I know one, but that's not me. So you have to get into your brain and take out all the ways that you might find yourself responding to a thing and just find that it does't relate to you, that you have no idea who that is. That's not you. If I asked you what your name was, you'd be like, you might lie and tell me somebody else's name. You might lie and tell me different names over and over and over again, but you wouldn't necessarily know your name, and that would be kind of fun, right? And you could also discover that maybe when your brain learns what it can forget, it might take the ways that it forgets something and apply that to other things that you want to forget. So let's see. If I was going to do that, I might be like, okay, so for the next 5 minutes, you might find yourself thinking about the sound of your name, thinking about what it looks like when it's written, thinking about how you identify yourself, what you call yourself when you look at yourself, how you write your name, your signature, all those things. And then for the next 5 minutes, as long as your unconscious mind is okay with it and it's safe and appropriate for you to do right now, your brain can realize that whatever that name was, it just puts it aside in a place that on a conscious level you're completely and totally unable to access. You could think real hard. You might go to check a license, but you couldn't read it. It looks like you. Hold up to a mirror. Yeah, that looks like me, but I don't know what that name is. I have no idea what that name is. I just can't tell. So your unconscious mind can think about the ways in which you can make that happen. Does it scramble what you see? Does it just make it so that you're unable to understand what it sees? If somebody called your name, would it just slide right by because to you that name sounds wrong and you don't identify with that? If you were to write your name, you might pause and try to write something else, but your hand would forget how to do that. So just for the next couple minutes, your unconscious mind can go, you know what? I'm capable of responding and reacting in all those ways. If someone asked me to say my name, I would make something up because I wouldn't know what my name was. And so, because all the information about your name is just, your unconscious mind just pulls it from wherever it happens to be. Wherever it happens to be is in a place that your conscious self could access. Your unconscious mind just goes, nope, we're going to pull it all into one place and we're going to shove it out of the way so that our conscious self cannot access that at all. So our conscious self has no idea, just for the next few minutes. And then your unconscious mind goes, yes, I will do that for the next few minutes. And then after that, I get it all back. And then after that, when I get it all back, I also think about all the things that I did in order to make that happen. Because that's going to help you to learn to forget other fun things in the future, whether it's a number, whether it's something that you just did, doesn't matter. But the best way to do it is to make sure that every sense that you can access a thing in, you just don't have that access. And because you don't have that access, you don't know who you are. Well, you know maybe who you are, but you don't know what to call yourself. You don't know what your name is. If you asked somebody else and they told you, it wouldn't even sound right? So you can allow your unconscious mind to do that, to play around with those types of ways in which you can forget a thing. And as you find yourself playing around with ways in which you can forget a thing, you get better and better and better at playing around with amnesia, because we don't want to forget stuff. You don't want to forget how to do your job. You want to remember how to drive. You want to remember the things you have to do at home, because if you stop doing those, well, it builds up, it's messy, it's no fun. So let your unconscious mind think about how good that feels. To remember what you need to remember, to forget what you don't have to remember. And again, there's a lot of that going on. And then to allow your unconscious mind to learn new ways to do things. Because the flip side of amnesia is having a really great memory. And when you find that you can forget things in some way, those techniques that your unconscious mind can use to let you forget something can also be used to put information that you need in a place that is easily and effortlessly accessible when you need it. But that is why that we don't, as a hypnotist, just take out the memory of a bad ex. Because your unconscious mind is going to have so many different places that memory is stored that you can't really get rid of all of them without taking out big chunks of you and what you've done for the most part. And it is way more fun to play around with things that make you not feel so strongly about them so that you can move on with your life and move in new directions. Okay, so hypnosis is real. Don't use it to get over and to forget an ex. Allow your unconscious mind to know that it's super capable. So one of the things that I often do when I start working with somebody, two things usually. I work with them to put in an instant sleep trigger, which is a reinduction trigger, so that somebody can go instantly back into trance. I do this because initially when I started out doing hypnosis, I found progressive muscle relaxations, or PMRs. It's where you relax your body from, I never knew why they do it. They always do it from like the toes up to the head, and I like doing it the other way around. Whatever, however it works for you. But I never really liked doing them. They're slow. I get bored. I want to move on to doing suggestions. But a lot of people really like feeling their body relax. But hypnosis is not all about relaxation. That's another myth that people think all the time. They want to, thank you so much, Try. They want to get to the point where they think that hypnosis is all about relaxation, so that's all they focus on. Sometimes you'll hear, like if you listen to somebody's hypnosis audios, they use relax like 29 million times. It drives me crazy. It's not important, because usually at the end of a hypnosis session, your body is going to be more relaxed anyway. And it's going to be more relaxed because you're not tensing up. You're just allowing things to happen. Depends on what you're talking about, of course. If you're doing like hypnotherapy, it's certainly possible that you could find yourself more tense at the end of a thing, especially if you're doing some deep emotional work than before. But generally speaking, hypnosis is a relaxing phenomena for the body, sometimes for the mind. And you can find yourself in a space that just feels really, really good. So, if you find yourself in the place where you want to feel really, really good, hypnosis is also good for those sorts of things. Oh, wait, let me go back. So, instant sleep inductions go right back. Again, sometimes people like the progressive muscle relaxation. If you do, no shame. I totally get that sometimes people just want something that is purely for them. I may, at some point in the future, make a longer progressive muscle relaxation audio or video so that you can have it done my way, see what happens. But again, I would prefer to just use a trigger to put somebody into a state of trance. I like using fractionation. That's when you bring somebody up and down, whether you bring them out of trance and then deeper into it, or into trance and out of it, however you do it. So fractionation is that whole increasing and decreasing the level of trance state that you're in. So maybe you just want to do some of that. That's kind of fun. But I like doing, I like getting somebody into trance really quickly. You can deepen somebody really quickly with doing fractionation. That's kind of fun. And I like getting, again, right to the meat or the heart of our sessions. I think hypnosis is very effective, very quickly. And if you want to do something very quickly that isn't, therapy related, that you can do things very fast with hypnosis or hypnosis and NLP. Hypnosis is not NLP, but NLP is based partly on hypnosis. And depending on who you listen to and when they said it, because sometimes they change things over the years, hypnosis and NLP are, because hypnosis is part of what goes on in NLP, and NLP is devised from therapy and linguistics and hypnosis, that you can make changes within people really quickly. So using hypnosis with some NLP techniques can be fire, like explosive, fast, wonderful. And it doesn't even have to be that violent. Those were kind of violent words that I just used. But it can be such fast, wonderful change. And some people use it to completely make over the way they think about things. That it is just it's just so incredibly powerful. I love doing those things. I love using, like, there's a fast phobia technique that's an NLP technique. I love using that for all sorts of things, not simply curing a phobia that somebody has, but using that to make adjustments in someone's life. It's so good. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to probably talk about a couple other things, and we can go on from there. So let's see, what else? What other things are myths about hypnosis? I will tell you right now, I've never made anyone cluck like a chicken. Stage hypnosis has its own sort of set of rules. I know people that are stage hypnotists. I have never known stage hypnotists to be faked. But hypnotists become really, really good at determining who is going to be susceptible to what it is that they're doing. And that's right. They've learned who's going to be really susceptible to what they're doing, and those are the people they call up on stage. It's not magic. It's not quite science. But you do discover the people that are more likely to give a better response, and those are the people that you can call up on stage. And some people are both wanting to go up on stage because they've got a little bit of an exhibitionist thing going on, and they're really good at hypnosis. They might be good at following instructions. So those are the people that tend to get brought up. And that's how I first discovered hypnosis. In college, I was picked. And funnily enough, like, I'm not really a great subject, but I can go into trance really, really well, and I love being in trance. I also do go into trance when I hypnotize people sometimes. Not always, but a lot of the time. But I will talk about one of my favorite inductions. I probably have talked about this before. But if I'm hypnotizing somebody, say, over the phone, so I cannot see them, and they have never been in trance before, they don't think they've ever been in trance before, one of my favorite inductions is for me to have them stare at something. And they stare at a thing, and I'm going to find something of my own to stare at. So as I'm staring at my own thing, I'm describing what it feels like. So I'm going to go through that with you guys. So I'm going to pick something to stare at. And I'm going to say, so while you stare at the thing, I'd like you to notice that at some point in time, everything around what you're staring at becomes a little fuzzy, a little foggy. And even maybe the thing that you're staring at, maybe that's the only thing that is in any sort of focus to you at all. And everything else is a little fuzzy, is in your peripheral vision. And then at some point in time, what I notice is that it really feels like there's a tunnel between me and the thing that I'm staring at. Like, there's a tunnel, it's just that, just the thing, just me. There's a tunnel, everything is fuzzy, everything is foggy. And then, depending on the quality of light that's around me, like right now my monitor's too bright for this to happen, but what usually happens is that I get like a gray-green cloud around everything else. So it's me, the thing I'm staring at, gray-green cloud. And then it begins to feel like I am moving closer or further away from the thing that I'm staring at, or it is moving closer or further away from me. I can never really be sure which one is happening, but I can tell you that I like to go into trance with my eyes open, and it feels really great. And I do that more and more often than I might otherwise admit. So I'll come back all the way now. But that's how I talk to people who are new to hypnosis, who want to find themselves experiencing that. And it doesn't mean that they're going to experience the exact same thing that I experience, but usually as I talk about my state of trance, as I go into my state of trance myself, they come along with me. And that's a very common phenomenon. A lot of NLPers or hypnotists go into trance and then bring their partner with them, because that's one of the easiest ways to make that happen. If you were to stare at somebody else who was already in a trance, you might find yourself going into trance. It's just one of those things that can happen, and it happens probably more often than you think, which is one reason why look into my eyes is such a popular hypnosis trope. It's one of those things that just is like, it's like a little magnet. Oh, that person's in trance, I'm going to look into their eyes, I'm going to go into trance too. You can also look at yourself in the mirror and watch yourself go into trance while you go into trance, and that can like deepen the state of trance that you're in. It can be really a lot of fun and really a lot of excitement to do that. All right, so let's see some other things. I don't know. Maybe that's it for today. There's a ton of questions that people ask about hypnosis. There's a bunch of myths that are out there about hypnosis. I didn't make a big list today. I do have a big list, but I don't have it with me right now. So how about I'll save some more for next time. If you have a question, go ahead and ask it. Yeah, I think you should go ask. You should go watch yourself go into trance. I also think that eyes open hypnosis is a really, really powerful way to begin to be able to do waking state hypnosis. What does that mean? That means that you might be out there in public, walking around. I suggest doing it in your house first, though. But you could be out there in public, walking around, and you're deeply in trance, and nobody else can tell. You're the only one that knows what's going on. Or maybe you have like somebody with you that is helping to make sure that you are safe, which I kind of also recommend. But I've done that at parties, and my partners have been deeply in trance, eating, drinking, dancing, having conversations, deeply in trance. And everyone just, you really can't tell. And it's so much fun. So I think that's kind of great. Okay, I'm going to come back. I'll get some more questions for next time that I haven't answered this time. And I want to thank everybody that was here, because this is new. I'm going to try to do these maybe once a weekend on Saturdays or Sundays. I'm not quite sure which. I really appreciate the members that are here. Really appreciate that you're here. So thank you. I'm really grateful. Oh, how do you know you're really in trance, deeply in trance? Okay. Well, sometimes you don't know. Sometimes people have no idea that they're actually in trance. But when I'm looking at somebody, this is how I can know they're in trance. And this is how I know I'm in trance. So I'll go over both of those things. I know I'm in trance because I get a different sensation in my body than when I'm fully consciously there. I get a different sensation, and when I talked about me moving further, closer to the object, or it moving closer, further to me, when I was a child, I took piano lessons. I had a piano in the house. I was a terrible pianist. I cannot play beyond what I learned at a very young age, so I'm not very good at it. But there were some times in my life where I'd be playing the piano, I'd be sitting on that stool, and it would feel like I was moving back from the keyboard, right? So I was moving back from the keyboard. It felt like I was a very, very far away from that keyboard. And my hands were just playing. They were playing the song. And I was playing it without air. I was just doing it. But it was such a cool feeling. Like, I did not recognize that as trance when I was a kid, but I recognize that as a trance state now. And so for me, that type of experience is something that I often feel if I'm in a state of trance. I recognize it because I've done it a lot. And because I've done it so many times, what I would suggest is that you have to find out what it feels like for you to be in trance. And maybe that means you have to have somebody else put you in a trance and talk about what it is that you're doing. So you might find yourself in this place where somebody's like, so I noticed that you're swallowing pretty heavily, more than you were when we started. I noticed that your jaw, your face is getting a little more slack than it used to be. I noticed that your eyelids are acting like they're really heavy. And if you were to try to open them, you might have a really hard time opening them. Like, they just don't want to lift all the way. For some people, you have to take a video of yourself. I know somebody who is a top-notch hypnotic subject, or hypnotist, whatever word you want to use, but they are top-notch at going into trance. And they had no idea what they look like or what they did when they went into trance. There are some people's eyes, it looks like they're already in REM. They go back and forth really quickly. Some people's eyes roll up the back of their head. Some people's lips, the bottom lip gets very red and swollen. Some people get bloodshot eyes. And all the time I've been doing hypnosis, I've only seen the red eyes like twice. But you can see these changes, and the more you do them, the better it is. And you should learn what it is, what it does feel like for you, because it's valuable information for you to know that you're there. So if you can, I would recommend that you videotape yourself just so you can see what it looks like, but also to go into trance again and again and again, and to like start to recognize the feelings that you feel wherever they are. Like, I usually think that they happen here, but sometimes maybe in the head. I have a friend, because I'm cruel, I have a friend who, when they went into trance, the top of their head would tingle, and that's how they knew that they had been in trance, right? Also, they're so good at going into trance. And so I'm playing around with them. We are out at a bar in New York City, and I'm hypnotizing them. No one else is really around us. And I took away their tingle, and I brought them up, and I was like, "Oh, so were you hypnotized?" They were like, "Absolutely not," because they usually would know. They are like, "Oh, I don't feel it." So it was fun to give them that feeling back, to take it away initially, give it back to them, to play around with that. So I'm going to say that it doesn't matter which file you listen to. If there's a file that you think is effective for you, go ahead and videotape yourself while you listen to it. And by the way, I recommend that if you're going to be listening to hypnosis audios or videos, that you are like in a reclining position but not lying down. You don't want to actually get to sleep. You want your unconscious mind to recognize that this is a special situation. I'm here to do a thing, listen to this file, to respond and change my brain about something, to make some new actions happen, and to find yourself, sitting up and listening unconsciously and just letting whatever happens. And so I think that obviously I have a lot of files that you could listen to. So some people are always aware. It's not like your ears shut off. So I think one reason why I go into trance and don't pay any attention to the things that I do, I'm not 100% sure about this, but like when I go to sleep at night, my hearing at some point in time, literally, it's like it turns the sound around me off. And when I wake up in the morning, it's like I'm listening to the sound in my head, and then I begin to be aware of the sound around me. But when I'm deeply in trance, I just have no idea about what's being said. And I think it's just because my unconscious mind is taking all that information. So if you find yourself always aware of what you're hearing, it just might be because a conscious part of you wants to keep listening. But it's okay for your unconscious mind to be the one that does the listening. And it's okay for your conscious self to think about other things. So if that happens to you, what I often recommend is to have hypnosis in one ear and have something else in the other ear, and allow your unconscious mind to know that its job is to listen to that, to put you in trance, and then to consciously not have you think about it. Think about the other thing. Excuse me. And then see what happens. It is okay for you to not hear everything that goes on in the trance. You don't really need to remember them. I mean, it's not like you're learning a song. So you could, put on a song that you like in one ear, or an artist that you really like, or a playlist that you really like, and then hypnosis in the other ear, and let the hypnosis do its thing. So, okay. So I would recommend you videotape yourself, there are also other types of so contractions and convulsions, especially around the eye. So sometimes like the body will twitch as it's relaxing, which is kind of interesting, right? And so those are sometimes just natural things that happen to your body while you are in trance. Again, I would pick a file that you really like, listen to it, videotape yourself, see what happens. Try not to get too excited about it. Just like let the file do its thing, let you do your own thing. There are some files out there that are designed to get you more deeply in trance than you have been before. And one of my favorite suggestions to give somebody is to allow their unconscious mind to take them as deeply in trance as they ever have been, right? And as you find yourself going more deeply in trance than you ever have been, to go even deeper. And then as you go even deeper, as you drop as deeply in trance as you can, let your hand and arm rise up all the way till you're like reaching for that ceiling, right? And then when your hand is up there and your unconscious is stuck your hand and your arm up there, then I ask your unconscious mind to clear your thoughts, to clear your head, to clear more space so that you can go deeper into trance, so that you can go somewhere new that you've never been. You can go somewhere deeper than you've ever been. And then when you get there, I said I'm going to count to 3. When I count to 3, drop your hand and your arm and go to that new place and just let it happen. Usually I talk about, okay, well, this is a new question. So sometimes people are like, oh, the hypnotist told me to go 10 times deeper or 100 times deeper. I don't know what that means. I can't do it. Brought me out of trance. Okay, well, don't worry. You don't have to, it's not a math thing. You just simply have to allow your unconscious mind to take you to its approximation, its understanding of what that means. Can you do a thing more deeply than before? The answer is undoubtedly yes. So your unconscious mind can take you to a new place. You can also do fractionation over and over again to get you more deeply into trance, because every time when you do fractionation, every time you come up, you go down a little bit deeper than you were before, and then you come up and you go down a little deeper than you were before, right? And then you come up and you go down a little deeper than you were before. You come up, you go down a little deeper than you were before. So let the process that you can do with hypnosis work. And also, one of the suggestions that I give probably early on, maybe even in Lazy Summer Day, is so that every next time you go into trance, you can go deeper than you were before. And your brain just can like learn to set a baseline. How deeply in trance was I the time before? I was here. So next time, this is a new time, I'm going to go here. And then next time, that's my new baseline. And then next time, I'm going to go there. So your brain just learns how to go more deeply in trance, as long as it's safe and appropriate, every time you go into trance. You just tell your unconscious mind that you are going to go more deeply into trance, and it's going to feel great, and you're going to enjoy being there. And the more you enjoy going deeply into trance, the more easily you can find yourself going. Okay, I'm really going to go. But thank you all for being here. I'll be back. I'll try to do this again next week. And I am grateful that you were all here this time. Feel free to ask me other questions. And if I didn't answer them today, I will get to them next time. So thanks a lot, and have a great day, everyone. Bye.